How is it going, everyone? It's Caleb here, and today we are going to be talking about BattleBots Design and Destroy on the Game Boy Advance. And this is going to be one of those rambling videos where I talk quite a bit about just a lot of stuff around the game as well, because I grew up watching BattleBots. BattleBots used to be a TV show, and me and my entire family would watch it, and I loved watching BattleBots. I remember my favorite one was this one that had two hammers and had this like pincher on the front, and he's actually in this game. I think his name is Dissector, and he's actually in this game, which was pretty cool. But I remember having toys of this game. I had a full-on arena with like the little yellow spikes that you could put up around the arena, and it had the traps just like you would see in the TV show. And I remember when they were even giving these away in kids' meals at Wendy's. They would have these BattleBots kids meals, and you could actually get little tiny, toy versions of the BattleBots. And I always just loved that stuff. I loved this show. I loved everything about it. And I did not know that there was a video game for this game growing up. But when I found out about a year ago, I had to find it, I had to pick it up, and I finally played it for the channel. And I have to say, I actually really enjoyed this game. If you are a BattleBots fan, you should probably pick this game up. It is really cool, it's really fun, and it definitely captures the feeling of the TV show. And the main thing that you're going to be doing in this game is probably tournament mode. Tournament mode is really cool because you get to jump in and you get to literally design your own robot. You have different chassis that you can pick, you have different weapons you can pick, different wheels, different batteries, different engines. You have all this different stuff that you can use, and you can build your own BattleBot. And you start off in the lightweight division, and you work your way up to the super heavyweight division. And it's just a really cool concept, and you can make some really cool bots. Most of the bots I make use the hammers because I've already talked about how my favorite one used to have hammers, so I'm just kind of copying my favorite. But I really liked using the hammers in this game. If you're using hammers, you just have to keep smashing the A and B button over and over again to smash your opponent. There's other weapons though. There's some that are like spinners. If you know what the spinner bots are, it's basically like, think of a lawnmower blade that's just spinning on the top of a robot. You can do that. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You can put the spinners that like hang off the bot and they spin in front of the bot. You can do flippers, and flipping your opponent's pretty cool in this game. You can flip your opponent and try to knock them out that way, which is pretty cool. You have axes, you have metal chainsaws, you have so many different weapons. You have a spike roller, which is awesome. Some of these weapons require you to constantly tap the buttons to use them and attack with them, and some of them you just hold down the buttons. For example, if you are using the spike roller, you just hold down the button and it will just keep doing damage as long as you are making contact with your opponent. It's pretty cool. I love the customization in this game. They give you a lot to work with, and you just have to go through this tournament mode and keep fighting different robots. You have 4 different robots to face to move into the next tournament, and it is pretty darn cool. You only have 4 arenas, and that is probably the only downside of this game. However, I will say I do like the main arena the best anyway, and I feel like I want to use the arena that captures the feeling of the show the most anyway. So I did end up just using, the most default basic arena, just because to me that's the TV show. I want to play what's closest to the TV show. So I don't know, even if they had more, I don't know how often I would actually play those other ones, because I really enjoy the closest thing I can get to reality in terms of this game. So that was, I just played the main track, or the main arena. I do think that there could have been more. 4 isn't really a whole lot, but it is what it is. You do have the main arena. You have an airplane graveyard, you have a oil rig, and then you also have a volcano. The volcano is pretty cool too, I will say. I do like the volcano, but I just like these, different, I do like these kind of fantasy settings. I think that they definitely should have done more. Again, 4 just isn't enough, but still, I did find myself playing the most realistic one anyway, just because, again, why not? But this is a fun game. It is really fun. It is fun battling the bots. You have to pay attention to your damage on your bot. You will see smoke coming out, and if you see the smoke coming out, you know that you're taking a lot of damage, and you need to either catch up or you need to avoid getting hit for a while. There's hazards on the arenas just like there was in the show. You can see those spike wheels on the walls. You can push your opponent into them. There's hammers on the walls, and you can push your opponent into those. Spikes on the walls, all that stuff. There's trap doors. There's fire that shoots up from underneath the arena, all sorts of different stuff that you would actually see in the show, and all that is in the game, and it all is really cool to be able to use those different hazards. So I like that. And when building your bot for each tournament, for the lightweight division, for the heavyweight division, for middleweight, all this stuff, you do have to keep in mind your weight for each bot as well, because you have to have it in the weight limit. So that was kind of cool too. I did like that they made it so it's very customizable, and you also have to pay attention to what you're doing, because you can't just make this overpowered thing. You kind of have to tailor it to still be fair in the actual arena. That being said, the game's still pretty easy, if I'm being honest, but still, I just thought it was really cool to see that. There's a lot of thought that went into this game, and they did a great job just trying to make this game feel as much like the show as possible. And I think that was the main goal here. That was the main mission, and they definitely accomplished the mission with that. Now, other than the main mode, there is also a free play mode called Brawl, and you can do this mode. It's pretty cool, I will say. You can select any of the actual pre-existing ones that are already in the game to fight with, or you can use the ones that you created during tournament mode. And you can go into Brawl mode and you can fight 1v1, or you can do free-for-alls and do 1v1v1, or, you know, fatal four-ways and all that good stuff. You can have 4 different bots in there at a time, and it can get pretty chaotic, but it's pretty fun. I do like that stuff. I really enjoyed that. And just all the different moves you can do. The fact that you can actually even flip the bots. I wasn't sure how that mechanic would work in this, but you can literally just flip the bots, and you do have time to kind of like unflip yourself. If you just keep button mashing, you can unflip yourself. So they just really tried really hard, I feel like, to make a good, realistic game based off BattleBots. So I enjoy all of it. I enjoy the Brawl mode. I enjoyed the tournament mode. I also will say, if you go into settings, when you first go into Brawl mode, it's set to arcade, and that just means that there's going to be like power pickups and stuff. So if you want to do just simulation, you can turn it to simulation in settings. I prefer the simulation mode because I don't really care too much about the pickups in this. But there is some pickups that you can get if you are in arcade mode, and they just do like basic stuff, like they'll give you more of battery, they'll repair you and stuff like that, just stuff like that. But I prefer the simulation mode. I just think that is way more fun in this game. Usually I'm not like that. Usually I like a more arcadey feel, but this game I just kind of like it being realistic, as realistic as a Game Boy Advance game can be. So I was a pretty big fan of that. This is a fantastic game. I honestly can't say enough good things about it. Graphically, it looks great. It's awesome. It's an awesome game. The only thing that I probably would complain about is that, other than just not being enough arenas, is that the music's kind of basic and pretty repetitive, and you know that's not great. But other than that, I think that this is a great game. So I really like it. It's really cheap. I found this game for $5, and I see it constantly for around that price. So if you can pick it up for $5, I think it's a really fun game. The only other complaint I would say about this game is that there's no save function, and that is a little bit disappointing because I'd like to just save my bots and be able to come back to them later on. But instead, they use a password system. I don't like password systems. I've never been a fan of those, but it is what it is. And I wish I could have saved my bots, though. So instead, if you turn the game off and go back into it, you're going to have to go through tournament mode again if you want to use your own creative bots, your own custom bots. So keep that in mind if you are wanting to, you know, keep using the same ones. You're not going to be able to do that unless you just keep recreating the same ones. So a save feature would have been really nice here. But still, for $5, I'm happy with it. This is a fun game. It's 100% worth it. I'm very happy with it, and I think there's plenty of replay value because you can just do so many different types of bots. You can do so many different combinations, and it's just, to me, that adds so much replay value. And I do want to say also, in the tournament mode, I was talking about the customization and everything, you do also have to repair your bot after every battle. Don't forget to do that, because if you forget to do that, you are going to get destroyed. Because you will go into the next if you don't repair your bot after each battle in tournament mode, you will go into the next battle and you will get absolutely destroyed because you will have no health. So keep that in mind. But it's pretty cool. I really like it. It's a fun game. I highly recommend it, and I think that this, I'm not going to call it a hidden gem, but I think that everyone who has seen BattleBots, who is a fan of BattleBots, has enjoyed the TV show, should probably try this game at some point. It is a really fun game. I'll talk to you in the next one. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.